Do you ever feel like you put in all this effort to buy beautiful gifts for your family and friends, but then you come up short on the wrapping department? Wrapping can be tricky, but it is a learned skill. I'm going to show you 5 different areas, different types of wrapping, and I'm going to actually wrap these packages so you can watch step by step. Welcome to the Peaceful Home. I am so happy to have you here. Now, we are going to be wrapping all kinds of gifts today. First off, we're going to go through supplies. Now, I have done a complete video on decluttering my gift wrapping station, and I will link that below. I placed everything today on my kitchen island, and let's take a look. I'm going to show you all of the supplies I'm using today. It doesn't mean you need to have all this, but I wanted to be thorough. I've got some kid-friendly wrapping paper here, some note cards, lots of ribbon. This ribbon is on the spool. These are loose ribbons, miscellaneous little ties and things that can go on a gift. Tons of gift bags in all different sizes. Gift boxes in different sizes. I love the ones that fold flat. Of course, you'll need tape, scissors, and I like a fine tip black Sharpie. These are things for gift cards. You can use something really pretty like an ornament that opens up, a little tin, or these cute little gift bags. These were $1 at the Target dollar spot, and they're just beautiful. I got one red and one white. You need sticky tags and hanging tags and more ribbon. And then, of course, tissue paper. And I've got all of my wrapping paper here. I've got some really beautiful rolls. I have an entire collection of vintage rolls that I have thrifted over the years. And I always want to make sure I have one extra long roll. You can see how long that is. Category number 1 is no wrapping. What I recommend is ribbon. This is a way to dress up a gift that you're not going to wrap. So in our family, some examples of that would be a gift from Santa. We would occasionally put out a Santa gift, and it wouldn't be wrapped. It would just have a big bow, and it would be under the tree. Stockings are another area where you're probably not going to wrap things, unless it's something very small. Then wrapping is nice, or something special, but it's small. I think a gift wrap can be beautiful, but for the most part, things in stockings are not going to be wrapped. But you can do things like this. I showed these in my Thrifted Gifts for Christmas video, just with a simple ribbon. So when we do Santa gifts, it's really basically an anonymous gift. We put who it's to, we write from Santa, and the kids don't really know where it came from. So the first one is this big dinosaur for my grandson. I'm going to choose a big ribbon and tie it around his neck. And I do want to do a bow. So here's an easy way to measure. Going around the neck. If you're not quite sure, I would do a little bow. Just tie like this, go around. I have enough to go around the neck, one side of the tail and another side. And that gives you an approximate length. I'm going to cut it right here. Maybe just 2 extra inches to make sure it's long enough. I'm just going to give you a little lesson in tying these giant bows. Let me start over here. I'm going to go right over left, and these should be pretty even. And then tuck this up and under and pull vertically. Make the first loop here. This goes around. And when you pull, you will find that that bow stays really nice and even. Sometimes if you don't do it this way, they end up lopsided, which can be really frustrating. So I'm going to give this a nice tug to tighten it. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to cut the tail. One is at an angle. And I like these to have the long side on the outside, which means you would cut from here down at an angle, and from here you would start this way and go down to the outside. So if I did one like that, just going to start cutting, and there you've got the angle. and you would do both sides to match at the same length. The other option, you would fold your ribbon in half, and you're going to make a cut from the two folded edges towards the bow. So I'm going to cut from here down to the folded edge. I'm actually going to cut it in reverse. And you get this V. Both of these look great. I'm going to go ahead and cut them both with the V. And here you have it. My other Santa gift that is going to need a bow is this sweet little monkey for my grandson Zeke. And if you wouldn't mind saying a prayer for him, he is currently in the hospital undergoing some tests, and it's already been a week and it hasn't gone great, but we are praying for a good outcome. This is for him for Christmas, and I think I'm going to use a stripe. I really love using red and white stripes for children because it just has the feel of a candy cane, and what kid doesn't love that? So I'm just going to tie this around this guy. I'm going to do it the same way. Loop over, tuck it up, give a vertical pull, loop around. The rest of it's pretty basic. Tie. And you can always pull the ends to adjust the size of your loops. And then I usually pull again on the loops to get the size that I want. And on this one, I am going to do the angled cut. So longest side on the outside, and I will cut up towards the middle. And on this side, starting on the outside and cutting up towards the bow. So here is this sweet little monkey for Zeke and this beautiful dinosaur, and these guys are ready to go under the tree. The last reason to not wrap a gift would be something that is extremely large. So again, if you have a bicycle or a skateboard under the tree, a giant ribbon is perfect. You can buy the large bags for oversized gifts. It's really up to you. The other idea you can do is you can hide the larger gift and attach a string, and the kids have to wind up the string and follow it to end up where their gift is. You also could do a scavenger hunt with clues that would lead them to their gift. Number 2 is a box without wrapping paper. So this might be a flat fold box. You know, these fold nice and flat, really great for storage, but they're decorative and they're meant to just attach a bow and you're ready to go. No wrapping paper required. So again, another flat one that's decorative. This is a flat one, but it's pretty simple. You still could just put a ribbon around this if you'd like, but I'd probably wrap this one up. This is one of my favorite no wrap boxes, but it is not flat, so it takes up room. This is the one and only that I have. I've probably had it for 10 years. It gets used every Christmas and gets put away, and I use it year after year. But I probably wouldn't want a bunch of these because they take up more space. So let's get something to put in here. I've got a flannel shirt that I got for my husband, and it's already folded nicely, came this way, but it's not going to fit in this box. So I'm going to have to refold. Instead of in half, I'm going to cut it in thirds. Fold up just a bit and then go and see if that's going to fit better. Yes, and actually, I'm going to just take it in a little bit on the sides as well. Little skinnier. I love shirt boxes for clothing in particular, and this is such a classic look. You need some good tissue paper. You definitely need tissue for all of your bags and for some boxes and for breakable items. I like to do 2 pieces of tissue that are folded to size. So they're going to fit perfectly inside this box, and I'm going to put half of it down in the bottom, leave plenty of room to wrap this piece over the top. and the second piece on the other side. Now, I don't know how old you are, but in my day, even the most basic department stores wrapped your gifts. And whenever they wrapped clothing items like this in a box, they always folded the tissue over and usually sealed it with some type of sticker. So I'm putting half of the tissue over. This piece I'm going to fold one more time. So after I fold this side, it's going to come to the middle. And then typically I have little round stickers that I just use to close it up. I am out of those right now. Another option would be to do a small round to and from sticker. This is a really cute one, and you would just reiterate who it's to and from. Another option is a larger sticker. I do have these, and I could simply do a Merry Christmas on this. I need to get some more just little gold foil round stickers, but this one is going to work, and you barely have to touch it down on the tissue. So when they open the box, this is what they're going to see. And there's just something about breaking the seal that's really fun. Now again, we are talking about a no wrap box. So with one of these decorative ones, you can either tape the sides and it's ready to go. This one has some ribbon that goes on each corner. I'm going to see if I can match this green velvet. I don't have any more velvet, but I do have this gorgeous satin ribbon. This is a Martha Stewart line, and I got these on clearance at Marshall's at the end of the season, and I wish I had bought more because it is just the best quality ribbon. One of my favorite things to do for boxes is to just hit the corners. And if I cover the green that's here, and I go around the back, so I'm going to go under here and then back across here, you seal the entire box without having to use any tape. I'm going to leave some extra for a bow. You know you've done it correctly if there's two corners on the front, and when you flip it over, it's going to go across the opposite two corners. Extra for the bow. So back is all secured with tape. I did a very small bow with very short tails, and I think that looks beautiful. So no wrapping paper needed. This gift is also very easy to open. As soon as they pull a tail on the bow, they can lift the lid and easy access. Number 3 is using wrapping paper. Now most often this is going to be around a box, like a shirt box, or something that's already in a box. I'm also going to show you one of my favorite wrapping techniques for something like this, bulky and hard to wrap. Here is a great idea if you are giving the same gift or similar gifts to multiple people. So in this case, I have bought 3 different books for 3 of my grandchildren. There's basically 3 choices. I wrap each gift individually and they find it under the tree and open it. I wrap all 3 together, which means one of the kids has to open, or they all share that, and then they see the 3 gifts. But my favorite is to individually wrap each of the 3 and then tie them together, so they open them at the same time. We're gonna do that. Now, I really love glittery paper for kids. I'm not a huge fan personally of like the cartoon types, whatever's popular for this season. I tend to go with something a little more neutral that can be used year after year and for any child. So here's your first lesson with wrapping with paper, and I'm going to give you a technique that makes it so easy and beautiful. In order to not waste paper, you do need to measure carefully. So there are a couple of ways I can do this. I can tell right now that if I position the book this way, I'm going to be able to fold over each side and it will cover. If you want to check for sure, put the book on its edge, that's the front, mark with your finger, slide this, that's the back, and then I need, about an inch for the side and an inch for the other side. I still have like this much wrapping left. So I can definitely wrap it this way and fold over. If I turn the book this way, of course it's going to fit as well. So if I had done it this way and I was just a little short, then I know that I could turn it this way. This is a little skinnier, and most likely it's going to fit. In the rarest of cases, you have something so large that even going this way, it won't fit all the way around your item. So if you have a large box and you realize it's not going to fit, then the only option is to roll out and use the entire thing to get around your box. Now, because of that, you're probably going to have paper that you need this way and you're going to have excess. So you can actually trim this and end up with leftover that can be used for smaller packages. Whenever you are wrapping, you're going to put your gift face down. This is going to be covered longwise this way, which means these are going to be the two sides that we fold up. The way to know that you have enough is to come up on the edge and give about an extra inch. So that means I need to have enough to come up on the edge with an extra inch. So I'm going to cut right here. A good sharp pair of scissors are essential. I also love a tape block that sits and you can pull the tape off. If you're using one where you have to hold it with your hand, it's just going to be a little more time consuming. So I'm going to pull this up here. When you pull over this second piece, you're going to fold that last edge. It makes the tape stay better and it looks better. And then you can gauge this, you can move this back and forth to get the right size where this folded edge is about in the middle. If you're sure that the item is balanced in the middle, you have the same amount of wrapping on each side. You are going to take your thumb and push in this edge. And then where it touches the table, I'm going to smooth that out. And up here, I'm going to make sure that this is all the way in and slide that out. So I've got two very crisp edges there. Here, I'm going to push in. If it's flat under there, I can do the crease. You don't want to crease it if it's not tucked in. So tuck it in all the way, make the crease, and then you can fold this down. Again, make sure that it's tight. And you have two options. You can do a small fold here. I'll show you this one first. And bring it up and over to the top. One piece of tape that covers this seam and this one is all you need. The other option is to have the edge just go up on the side. So in this case, I would need to come in pretty far so that when I fold this up, it's going to just cover the end. It's not going to wrap around the bottom. There isn't a right or wrong. It doesn't matter which one you do. And I'm going to turn around and do the other side. If you don't make sure this is in all the way and you end up creasing here, when you go to do the fold, you're probably going to see a bit of this. So make sure that it's pushed all the way under so that when you crease it and fold it down, it's going to be hidden. This side. I'm doing this slowly because this is the classic wrapping that I use most of the time. If you can get this technique down, you can wrap just about anything. So again, we came up just on the end over there. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Up to the top. And there you have it. Okay, now I've got these three stacked up. I'm going to show you the classic cross tie with a bow in the middle. This is great for any box, well, any size, anything. You can use it on so many different shapes, but definitely to tie multiple gifts together. So I'm going to pull this over, side, top, side, and then imagine I'm going over the back. So this would be the bottom. So that's the length that I need to go around one time. Now I'm going to do the other side. Side, top, other side, and the length of the bottom. And then imagining a bow. And for me, I probably need at least an arm's length for a bow. Let's try that. And here's the technique. You fold your ribbon in half. The halfway point goes right here on the top middle. And then you've got to do a little tricky maneuvering here. Flip it over and come this way. You're just bringing the ribbon in the natural direction it's going in, but you're going to kind of pause, reverse the direction, and pull this way. So as soon as you do that, it's going to tighten in the back, and your ribbon should still be lying flat. Flip it over again. Come around this way. Now, if you tie your bow, there's a good chance that your bow is going to end up over here, and it's not going to match up with this ribbon. So what I do to tie them all together is the one that's pointing up here, I'm going to tuck it, yes, under this one, but also under this ribbon here. So try that again. It's going to go under both and come over here so that when I pull, you can see it's going to gather everything together. Pull there, and then tie my bow, straighten out the loops. This has a wire edge, so I can form it just a little bit, and I can form the tails a bit. And I'm going to cut that way and that way. So here we go. This is all together. I will do an individual tag for each of the books so the kids know which one belongs to them, and I will do one tag that has all their names on it. This would be a great one, a great hanging tag. I like to use the same ribbon if I can. It's a little easy with a wire because it goes right through. Even though this is a wide ribbon, it's very thin. So I'm going to write on it first. And put it under the bow here. Do a little tie. And I am going to do 3 of these small circles. I'm going to put each of their names on it. I'm going to tuck these under so you don't really see them until they pull it apart. And this one on the top, I'm going to tuck it under the bow. Okay. There we have it. Beautiful wrapping. The kids will get this, and they will each get to open their own gift, but all at the same time. This is one of my favorite techniques for round items. I call this the Tootsie Roll wrap, and I want to make sure this is long enough. I'm going to make sure that this will fit all the way around. I want to make sure to fold this edge, bring it around, and this time I'm going to tape in the middle and again near each edge. I could kind of feel the end of the towel. Okay, and now what we're going to do, if you grab this too tight, you're going to rip your paper. You have to be very gentle. Actually going to add a little bit of tape here, and you're just going to ease in, kind of crumpling it and forming that little Tootsie Roll tie at the end. Okay, that was really easy. I just gathered it together, and now I'm going to get some ribbon. This is pretty burgundy, and this is a traditional red, so I don't want to use that one. Ooh, I like this big one with the gold edges. This is going to be great. And I also just might do a simple tie, not even do a bow, and make this the top. Oh, maybe I do want to do a bow. Let's see. I think that looks perfect. And then what you're going to do is cut off the edge if there's excess. This has a blue color line on the end. I definitely want to cut that off. I've also folded it and cut a whole bunch of little cuts so that it looks like fringe. That looks really nice. You can just kind of crumple the ends a little bit if you're not going to get a perfect look anyway. And then the other side, gently folding, squeezing. You can see why this is one of my favorites. It just looks so festive and it's so easy to do. Number 4 is using bags and tissue, and that is one of the most popular ways because you don't have to worry about any of the details of wrapping, getting the paper the right size, all the folding. Bags are easy, they're beautiful, and they're reusable. Of course, you can use bags for just about anything, but in particular, they're great for bulky items, like the hooded towel that I just wrapped with the Tootsie Roll wrap. That would have been great in a bag. Another great reason to use bags is for multiple items. So almost like you're doing a gift basket and you have several things, you can just pop them all in a bag. So I thrifted a treasure for one of my grandsons who loves the Hulk. He doesn't really know much about who the Hulk is, but he thinks he's really cool. And he does have a little punching bag in their gym, and he loves to hit the punching bag. So I found this set of Hulk fists. They're gloves. You put your hand in, and there's a little strap to hold on to. I just thought he would have so much fun with these. Don't forget to take off your price tags. This is extremely important anytime you are giving a gift. If you can't remove the tag, use a permanent black marker to mark out the price. So thrifted or new, tags come off. This would be very difficult to wrap with wrapping paper, so I want to use a gift bag. The main thing you're going to look for is this bottom piece. This is going to really tell you your size. This is the width that you have at the bottom, and of course your height and your length. Here I could probably put these in, well, maybe side by side. Probably, because they'll bulge out a little bit. And I think they could fit. But when I compare it to this one, the brown bag is almost an inch bigger. So I think I'm going to try for this, and I'm going to stack them on top of each other. I am going to wrap up the one sitting on the top because I don't want anyone to see what it is. And then I like to take 2 extra pieces, grab them in the middle, kind of like you're doing a bouquet of flowers. You're going to push that in one side, and this one on the other. If you need an extra piece front and back, you can do that, but usually you can pull this apart and make it work to where it completely covers the gift. I know a lot of people just leave them like this, open, but I always think of them getting knocked over and the contents, spilling out. So I do like to tie them together. One option is to take the 2 handles, and if they're long enough, tie a loose knot. The other option is to get a piece of ribbon and tie them together. Now you can use sticky tags on bags very easily, and you can put new ones over old ones over and over as you're reusing them. But I find the easiest is to do hang tags because those are easily removable and they don't damage the bag at all. I don't want the black ribbon for this one, so I'm going to take it off and use some gold. Now I pull at both handles, run the ribbon through it. This way it's tied up and secure, it's easy to see the tag, and easy peasy. And number 5, teeny tiny items. What do you do with smaller things? So first of all, when there is cash or gift cards, you can definitely put them in an envelope. And I'm going to show you in a minute what we do in our family with envelopes. If you missed my wrapping thrifted gifts, I turned multiple thrifted items into gift baskets for Christmas. And I wrapped some thrifted necklaces. These are in tiny boxes, so this counts in the tiny category. Also, these gift bags are really nice. You can get a small paper one or these beautiful ones I found at Target. I've got a Yodo card here for boxcar children. That's for my grandson. I'm just going to tuck it in there and tie it up. I would suggest you go ahead and tie this in a knot just to make sure it doesn't come out. And of course you can loop your tag on there or tie it with a bit of string. Next, I have this beautiful ornaments for gift cards and cash. And this opens up. You can put your cash right inside, close it, and attach a little card and put it on the tree. They also make small tins and little cardboard cases that are great for gift cards. We are huge fans of Christmas Story, and so this one is for my husband, a gift card to Jimmy John's, which is his favorite sandwich shop. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to put all of these little things in the tree. This has been a tradition in my family for generations that small gifts get put inside the tree, not under the tree. Cards just get slipped right in. Small boxes. They become additional ornaments. So it's really fun. One of the last things we do on Christmas morning is someone needs to thoroughly check the tree to make sure all the gifts were found. To me, the most important lesson that you can learn is wrapping boxes with gift wrap. And again, it's a technique that once you learn it, you will use it for the rest of your life. And it just comes in so handy, and you'll never feel like you're fumbling around, not really knowing what you're doing with your wrapping. Now, I know there is tons of stuff on YouTube, and I encourage you to look for wrapping videos. There are some really amazing techniques. To me, I do it pretty simply, and so I hope that you will use each of these 5 ways of wrapping gifts, and I do hope it will be a blessing to your family this Christmas. Thank you so much for watching. It was a pleasure to have you today on The Peaceful Home.